And we're back and feeling romantic. I'm Charlie,
And I'm Cory.
and we are here. It's been a little bit since we've done a show, but we are back. We're happy to be here, and perfect time because Mr. Bruno Mars put out a new album on right ahead of his new tour, which has already sold 2 million tickets, I believe. It's going to be a huge tour.
That it will be. It's exciting to see him back in. It's exciting to be back here with you, period. It's been too long. Life has been getting away from at least me.
Me too.
It's good. It's good. It's good to be here. But it's good to hear some new stuff from Bruno. And outside of the Silk Sonic bubble as well.
Yeah, so it has been noted that this new album from Bruno is his first solo album in close to 10 years, which it is technically a true statement, but it doesn't, he hasn't really been gone at all. In that interim, he's done many collaborations. There's actually going to be he'll be putting out a collaborations album that's just compiling many of these hit collabs that he's been doing over these years. And of course, the Silk Sonic album, which we discussed a while ago because we've been doing this show a few years now.
Yeah.
And that was a very fun album to discuss. But of course, that was his duo with Anderson .Paak. And so, what are we expecting from Bruno post Silk Sonic, post some highly successful collaborations over the past couple of years? And even those collaborations were a bit interesting because each one was so different from the next.
True. His collabs have been all over the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, going into this, of course, we love Bruno. It was highly anticipated on my radar. Going into it, I guess I was expecting an old school Bruno album, but only because we hadn't got a uh, a solo album from him in a while. So I wasn't sure what to expect, but I was expecting an old school Bruno album. So we'll see what we get.
Yes. And the title of the album is The Romantic, which tells us this is going to be an album of love songs. And it seemed very, based on just the cover and even the album length, it seemed like he was going for a very 70s soul vibe. And there has been some commentary about this album's length. I do want to say that as part of this vibe that Bruno Mars is going for, it's not uncommon for older albums of the 70s and the 80s to be only 9 tracks. Some of the all-time classics are only 9 tracks, actually.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. We touched on it a tiny bit before we started the podcast today, lengthwise, but that's a good point. That's something I didn't put into play here.
Yeah, and Bruno Mars is very much big on being a throwback act. That's his vibe. It's what's been working for him, and he's going to continue to do it. And so this album, it probably will be his first album to debut at #1 on the Billboard 200. So that's, yeah, and obviously this is highly anticipated. Of course, his tour is going to be huge. And we've already gotten the single and all of that, but albums come out, the reception, of course, has been a bit polarized, which I'm kind of sick of it because it seems every big new release has a somewhat polarizing reception now because nobody can be normal about anything.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm officially over the polarizing everything. As a Star Wars fan, as a wrestling fan, just a fan of everything. Golly gosh, man. What happened to the day when we all just got jazzed about stuff? Like,
Yeah,
everybody's got to have some reason not to like something. I'm over it.
yeah, I am sick of it, and like just I'm just grateful we have artists continuing to make art. Because there's, as we all know, there is a lot going on in the world, and a lot of it is not pretty
Heard that.
at all.
Heard
So,
that.
you know what? If Bruno Mars wants to come out with a new escapist, soulful album, I am here for it. I'm happy it exists. That's where I'm at. So, and of course, now the new criticism is people have to, one that's been said, it reminds them of AI music, which
This album?
there was a review that said that, and I thought, okay, let's not.
Oof. Let's not lose focus of what's real, people. Come on.
Yeah,
That's the last thing I think when I hear an album. Maybe
yeah,
maybe that's just me getting old.
I,
The last thing I think is, "Oh, this is AI." I think that for a lot of other things media-wise, but not music. Oh, don't do it to the music.
yeah, really. But you know what? Regardless, Bruno, we're happy to have you back, and let's just take these songs for what they are.
Yeah, for real.
That's my attitude coming into this album, and I am ready to dive on into it and do what we do here, our track by track for the first time in a while here for a short album. So,
Yeah, man. A good old get back into it with a short one from Bruno Mars.
yes, perfect entryway back into music podcasting
There we go. There we go.
is The Romantic. Okay. So, The Romantic begins with Risk It All. This appears to be the second single. A video came out for it. And this is a ballad. It features a lot of mariachi elements, Spanish guitar in there. I was not predicting that a ballad would be opening the album, but I mean, it works. And in terms of being a romantic song per the album title, this works. This works just fine. I'm curious to see how it'll do as a single. To me, it's not the most. I mean, I don't know. It depends. His ballads do tend to do well, admittedly, but wouldn't have been my first choice as the second single. However, let's see how it does. I think it's a solid Bruno ballad.
Yeah, it definitely is solid, and, taking it as the opener, here, as the first track, as we always say, it does its job. It does its job here to really open us up on a different vibe and sound, and I think that's important coming out of we talked about it earlier, the Silk Sonic bubble or the collab bubble that really has been his sound in the public ear for about 5, 6 years now. So it's good to see this here. It wasn't something I expected. I expected high energy, super high energy right off the bat, but I was pleasantly surprised with this. I like it. I like it. I'm a huge fan of mariachi. I love that sound. I love that nylon guitar sound too, and we get that here. It's not the most epic composition ever, but again, after listening and listening and listening to this album, that's what this album is. This album isn't necessarily to set a bar. It's more, in my opinion, to pay homage to a sound and really a vibe, period. The romantic vibe here. So I enjoy this one. As a single, I don't know if it'll hold up. It has some strengths, not to get too far ahead of myself on this album, but again, he's not really raising a high bar or, like he's not doesn't seem like he's out to set that bar super high. I'm not with the reviewers that are saying that it's lazy songwriting all the way through this album, but I think it's more laid back than everyone was expecting. But yeah, good opening track here. 3 minutes 24 seconds, a nice vibe setter.
Yes, I agree. And the somewhat laid back vibe even is going to continue on to track two, which is kind of a dance track. Cha cha cha. Some of the Spanish flair of the previous track is definitely present on this song. It's a solid second track. I can definitely imagine hearing this on Dancing with the Stars or at a wedding or something. It doesn't jump out of the speakers as much as you might expect it to, but it's a solid song.
Yeah, it's a cool solid one. Immediately invokes Black Magic Woman Santana to me. Oye, como va? It's wild because I automatically went there in my brain, and then after listening and realizing that He does take on slow motion in this, which is pretty wild. It's a neat one. It's a neat little one. For me, this might have more legs as a single than Risk It All. But again, this one doubles down, in my opinion, this one doubles down on the fact of like, hey, I'm making a chilled, layback album. I'm gonna just do my vibe here. I guess that was a pitfall for me, and I'm trying not to beat this horse, but going into this album, I'm like, all right, where's the high energy? Where's the high energy? And it took me a second to realize what this album was. So this solidifies that vibe in the second spot, and I have fun with this one. This one is definitely one that I pop on for background music and has made its way into my playlist. So a solid second outing from Bruno on this album, and it keeps the vibe rolling.
Yep, we gotta keep it rolling with track number 3, which is the first single, I Just Might. So you probably already know this one, at least. Obviously, a new lead single, immediate number one hit. It does seem to have some legs. It'll definitely get radio play. I mean, again, this one I feel is it's a good bridge into this new era. This track, like, it is definitely a dance song. It's definitely not as out there as some other Bruno dance tracks. Like, this is no Uptown Funk, but it works perfectly fine as a dance track, and I think it's a great first single. I mean, again, this is just Bruno doing Bruno, and if the song's good, I'm okay with that, and this song is good. So I look forward. I'm glad it's out, and glad we have like an actual new hit in 2026 with this track.
Yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it. We've been doing a lot of Skateland lately as a family, and this reminds me of an old roller skating rink vibe here. Had a little bit more time with this than the rest of the album because it was that early single drop. And 100% honest, when it first hit, I was like, it was mediocre, but the more this one's been a grower for me. I really enjoy it musically, breaking it down composition-wise. It's got some really cool parts in here. It's really Bruno has passed the vibe check at this point for me, and I didn't realize what that vibe check was when this single came out, but this is definitely a highlight on this album, period, if not just a really solid number 3. I dig this song. I dig it a lot. This is another one that's made its way into my playlist. My kids are all about this song. And we're getting that beautiful romantic story here. I don't want to come off of there is in my opinion, a very loose. I won't even say very loose. There's a neat little narrative of the romantic going throughout this, and this one has a lot more of a not new age, a modern feel. Even though it pays homage with some older sounds, this one definitely stands out to me as more of a modern song on this album that has a lot of old
I agree that this is a modern song as well. Not as straight throwback as a lot of the rest of the songs here, actually. I was expecting the album to go a bit more in the direction of this track, and that's not quite what happened. That starts as soon as track number 4, which is God Was Showing Off. And this is the first of 2 songs in a row that to me feel very, very Silk Sonic coded. And I'm just going to say for both of these tracks, it makes me miss Anderson .Paak because that was the sauce Bruno needed, I think, to do this new sound, but also make it modern and fun. Those songs just had such an element of fun to them. I hadn't listened to the Silk Sonic album in a while, but just looking at that track list again, I was just reminded of the songs that they still stuck in my head, even though it's been a few years since I listened to the album in full. Um, I'll spoiler alert, I'm not sure if that'll be the case with all of the romantic, because this one, it's a fun tune. It did have to grow on me, but it just was too he's having fun with it. I'll give him that, but it is missing a bit of that Silk Sonic sauce that is needed for a track like this. It's almost like he's asking for the comparison to the better songs.
That's a cool take. You are spot on my notes throughout this song, and my opinion, and now both of our opinions. It seems like this is the first glaring example of me missing Anderson .Paak here. This song rolls, just feels a tiny bit empty. I haven't convinced myself it's not just me searching for Anderson .Paak, so it's good to hear you say it as well. I dig this tune, and having fun is 100% what he's doing here. I mean, he's really doing Bruno vocals on this album all the way up to here are spot on, and he's doing his Bruno thing, exactly what we expect from him. But there is a little bit of that special sauce missing now that Anderson .Paak is on to making K-pop movie, and hey, kudos to him. He's doing it with his son, his kids, and having a blast, but definitely first time I feel like I'm super missing him on this album. We're still right there in that 3 minute and 30-second song length, and he's filling every track up. It's not like we're having wasted moments here. I'm still, as an active listener, I'm still right with the album, and the vibe check is there. We get another beautifully romantic song and keep this narrative going. So it's a neat one, but this was for me the first. It's not a misstep, but a little bit less than what I expect from a Bruno Mars album on that one.
I'm with ya, and now we're on to track number 5, which is the second of these 2 songs that really just evokes too much of Silk Sonic, and this is Why You Wanna Fight, and this one's a ballad, and it's just like, it's okay. Every song here is immaculately produced, it's all very pleasant to listen to, but just that looseness that was on the Silk Sonic ballads is not on this track. Like, and it's just hard not to. I mean, it's all he's asking for the comparison on a song like this. It just kind of fades into the background. This is no leave the door open.
Stop reading my notes.
What the? It's
No,
just
legitimately, like that. It's so tough for me, and I try so hard not to automatically go to leave the door open here. It's way too similar for me, and I don't hate on that. Don't I'm not trying to take away from the song, but just sitting here with you, breaking it down, there's no way we couldn't talk about it. Composition wise, this is when I started to ask myself, like, I hope we're not getting Silk Sonic cutting room floor stuff. And I hate to think like that, but this one, I understand where we are and paying homage and being inside this 70s sound, but you just came off a successful collab group that crushed this. So if you're gonna do it, I hate to say anything bad. It's way too tough. And I dig this song. It's fun. It's my kind of style. It's scream it while you're doing the dishes type of deal. And have fun with it. Old school, real R&B here. Real soul to it. But for me, it really is too close not to be compared, and it doesn't necessarily stand by itself here. Bruno's still killing it vocal wise and everything, but like you said, that stiffness, which is wild, a wild word to use when we're talking about Bruno Mars, is present here on this number 5. And we're at the halfway point of the album too. So it's a little bit tough. This one tends to be a skip like 1 out of 5 times listening through the album for me.
yeah, I can see why, especially yeah, now we are at that halfway point now, and we're on the track 6, which is On My Soul, which is a pure Philadelphia soul dance track here. I mean, it has the groove that we expect from a great Bruno track. It is maybe not for everyone's definition of it, but for me, it fits that bill at the very least. I want this one to be a single. I think this song's a lot of fun. It's got a great groove and it's a real burst of energy for this album because as we've said, these songs have been a bit more mellow than we might expect from this artist, but this one's a real nice burst of energy. It does jump out at me. I wanted to keep going back to this one. I was like, do we have to move on from On My Soul? So yeah, really hope this is the like summer single. That would be ideal.
Yeah, this is definitely a breath of life on the album. Not that we were dying, but this really has some awesome energy, some really good horn sounds here. And this is what we expect. This one, for me, is a real hitter on this vibe here, where we're getting that homage that we've been talking about, but we're getting that Bruno sound. There's no stiffness here. These horns are carrying us through, and that hook, that "On My Soul," it murders. I could definitely see this as a summer single here. This screams, "Get in the car and head to the beach" for me, and, I dig it, I dig it. This being one of the shorter tracks on the album, this one does leave me wanting to come back for more and has. I enjoy this track a lot. It hasn't necessarily made its way into my playlist now that I think about it, but I do dig this one a bunch.
Yeah. Just wish it was a bit longer. That's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
what it boils down to. But the next track is a bit longer. Track 7, Something Serious. It's a more mid tempo track, but it sounds a lot like Lowrider. I can't be the only one that hears that. It real that's but you know what? That's a solid sound to take from. That's a classic song that's lingered in the consciousness for a very long time now. So I can see that's a solid place to take from. And it's a fun tune. It's not quite as electric as the previous track, but it is one of the more fun tracks on this album. And I like the space that he's getting into at this point in the runtime. I feel like it's a bit more, it is a bit sedate in comparison to some of the past songs, but it's a good melding of the two of the styles that we're expecting at this point that I would have wanted based on a song like I Just Might.
Yeah, this one has some serious. I like where you're at with War and the Lowrider Jam. This one has some serious, Santana vibes. I know I said Oye Como Van, Black Magic Woman earlier. It's that it's that cowbell that brings us to those thoughts, that rides throughout this album. This one really hits well. For me, I really like the way this one's composed. This one, again, being under the 3 minutes, this one I enjoy, almost in a guilty pleasure aspect here, and it keeps the album moving in the latter third. It's a cool one. It's a neat, it's not like it's an unfinished thought, it's just a neat little burst of energy again here.
Yeah, and on an album like this one, when we're going for that classic soul vibe, the short runtimes of the tracks doesn't irritate me as much as it might on a more out on an album that's trying to be more modern, because a lot of classic soul songs are short. If
Agreed.
you yeah, because we're not quite in the disco era yet when the songs get longer. That's not what he's going for, so but we're gonna go into ballad territory again with Nothing Left. It's a breakup tune, which makes sense. He did recently break up with his longtime partner. His private life isn't too publicized, which is smart on his part. It allows him to just keep making hits, frankly. He's given it his all on the vocals here, but the song I don't think is enough to warrant this kind of vocal pyrotechnics he's giving us here. I mean, like it's an okay song. It's not as much fun as his best songs. I don't know. It's just we're like throwing all this immaculate, all these great ideas. It's like we're gonna make it sound as perfect as possible, but the song itself doesn't have the bones for that. Is
Yep.
how I feel about this track.
Yeah, I'm with you. it as much as I hate to say it, it feels like a missed opportunity here at the penultimate, track where it doesn't have the bones is a great way to put it. It's just this sounds so meticulously orchestrated and set up, but then when you look at it as a whole, or when I look at it as a whole, I don't necessarily get that. Hot tea take here. And yes, this is gonna be like a fantasy booking, Corey, why are you even reaching and being crazy? But especially after the halftime performance of Lady Gaga and seeing her do a salsa-esque riff and run, I'm gonna go and say again, because it hasn't been on an album, Die With a Smile would have been perfect here, man. It would have been a killer. Even if you wanna do a little type of take on it, you know, a remix, so to speak, it hits so much better than this as what this song sets out to do, in my opinion. Die With a Smile would have been perfect here. I know I'm reaching, but
I mean, it is on Mayhem, so
true, that's true.
it's but it is kinda strange that it's not on this album because you can put a track. I mean, Cardi B's album has songs from a few years ago because she waited so long to do a new album, but, I mean, I don't that song would have made perfect sense on this album. I'm a little surprised that it's not here. Maybe that's a label issue, I don't know, but I do agree that it would have made sense on this album. I mean, more so than his other collaborations, but I'll touch on all of that a bit later. Because now we are at the end of the album. As I said, this is a short one, folks. And we've got Dance With Me, which is a slow dance closer. I mean, I could definitely see this being like a first dance at a wedding kind of song. I'm sure that was the intent behind writing it, actually. This one lyrically actually reminds me a lot of his early ballads, like, you know, like Your Grenade or Just the Way You Are, but musically more understated, of course. But like he's playing it very straight vocally, I feel like, and I don't feel that's his strongest suit as an entertainer and performer. Help make Bruno Mars last is that he's more fun than this. Like that that's not, for me at least, a lot of people do love the songs that I mentioned, but that is not my favorite Bruno. My favorite Bruno is a lot funkier and um just loose. This is not that. I think it's a pretty boring album closer. I have an issue with this being the last track on the album.
Yeah. Again, it's great to see that we're still on the same page on a lot of stuff. This one, man, one of my notes here is can't believe you end the album with a skip track. It's tough for me, man. It really is. This just as much as I can hear him coming through here, the straight lacedness really falls flat. And there's times in this composition where I feel like I hear it trying to be something or trying to take off and unfortunately it doesn't. It's a sweet little song, but as far as an album closer here, it's a tough one for me. I do have one final take, and I'll save it for my grade, maybe a saving grace for most of this album. Um, but as far as just this track as the final, it's okay. I don't like to use the word mediocre with Bruno Mars, but this one just is an okay closer at best.
I think it's mediocre by his standards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there is that, and now we are at the end of the album. So I am curious to hear your saving grace. This is the time you can do it when you give your grade of the romantic.
Yeah, the romantic, it wasn't what I expected, so to say, but it's not anywhere near a terrible album. As far as its pacing, it kept me, it didn't have to keep me for too long, but it kept me listening throughout and coming back to quite a few tracks. I don't think there's many missteps per se on here with, the exception of the closer, but there's just something here that feels like just framework throughout. And the saving grace for me is I can really imagine this album being that framework for an epic live show where you have these horns and you have this percussion section and you have this energy that's there inside of a sound that or a style of music that can be jammed out, so to speak, that can be really elevated in a live performance. So I hope that this album is that springboard for what we're going to see with him on tour with this album. But unfortunately, it tends to end up sounding like just that for me, the framework of maybe an awesome live show. And for me, man, it's so crazy to say this, but this album, as nice as it is a C plus, B minus, C plus for me as far as an album goes. Just it leaves me wanting for more, but not in a hungry for it way, in like a wait a minute, that can't be it kind of way. And that's why it's getting a C plus for me.
I'm on the same page as you grade wise. I'm gonna go with the same. I feel like the album was made so he could go on a tour, frankly, because a lot of the past few years for Bruno, it's been Vegas residencies, because that's what Silk Sonic did. It's what he did solo. And so, like, yeah, I'm sure the powers that be are ready for a new are ready for a new Bruno tour to make them a buttload of money, which it definitely will. No doubt about that. And he's a fantastic performer. But I mean, I wonder how many of these songs will actually be on the set list. I feel like there'll be enough in there that it'll fit in with all his hits, I'm sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't know, it is missing the fun of his best work, and it does feel a bit again, it's all very well produced and pleasant to listen to, but it does feel a bit mechanical, which is a little frustrating. And one of the common criticisms of this album is it's too much of the same from Bruno. And if the songs are working, that's okay. But also, I'll give him credit for this. In his brief collaboration era after Silk Sonic and before this, each of those songs were completely different from each other, not just Die with a
yeah.
Smile, but we also had Appetite with Rose from Blackpink, which was a very fun song, but again, he's going into the K-pop world with that. And then we had the Sexy Red song, Fat, Juicy, and Wet, and I didn't like that song. I don't feel like it should have been on this album, but it was different for him. That's kind of why it polarized so many folks. It's like, what is Bruno Mars doing on Fat, Juicy, and Wet? I remember my friend sharing that song, but like, oh, you gotta hear this one. Like, this is wild. But it was different for him. And I wish he is capable of taking risks, as we've seen in just the past couple of years with some of these collaborations. And if we are going to do the same kind of song again, I feel like you need that extra cook in the kitchen, whether it be Anderson .Paak or Lady Gaga or whoever. This album doesn't have any extra cooks in the kitchen, and maybe it needed them for some new ideas. This was a bit of a disappointment for me. I really loved the first single, First Lesson. I was expecting more along those lines. That's not what I got. I don't hate it, but I don't see myself returning to it a lot after we're done with this.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunate for the Bruno, but that's alright. He'll bounce back, he'll bounce back.
But he'll be fine. He
Yeah,
doesn't need it. I mean, as I said, his tour is already made a ton of money and it's going to continue to. It hasn't even started yet. So Bruno Mars is just fine. Like I'm not worried about him, but I do hope his next effort is more inspired than the romantic.
heard that, heard that. What's your favorite song on this album?
My soul.
Me too, me too. It's gotta be. It's gotta be the banger, even though it hasn't made it to my playlist yet. It's that energy. There's something there on that song that I know he has.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm beating him up here, but yeah, On My Soul is definitely mine as well.
that one better be on his
It has to be. It has to be. I didn't think about it when I was thinking about the live, but you touched on it. A lot of these have the propensity, man, I'm not trying to say this is an album of segues for his hits, but a
might
lot of these
be.
have the propensity to be segues, especially with their length and their sound, where he can just roll from hit to hit with these in between.
He could. That's I mean, hey, gotta switch it, gotta add something there, I guess. But
Yeah, man.
right, but yeah, now we are done with the romantic, but we're on to a next new release. Definitely looking forward to discussing this one. Always a lot to discuss with Mr. Harry Styles, and he has put out his new album, Kiss All the Time, period, disco, comma, occasionally. So, yeah, pretty different album title for Mr. Styles. And well, just based on the first single, I don't think I'll be surprising any of you. He did change his sound a bit for that one, actually. And I'm very curious to discuss the new Harry album because I've enjoyed talking about him on here before, and it's his first album in 4 years. So, welcome back, Harry. And he hasn't been on a ton of collabs like Bruno has. So,
Heard. I'm going to plead the fifth and bite my tongue in anticipation for us talking about it. Unlike a lot of the albums we get into, I've spent quite some time, even though it's only been I guess a few days. I've spent quite some time with this album already. We've talked about wanting to hear new stuff from him. I love seeing him as an artist and seeing what he brings next. And he has very surprisingly to myself made his way into my group of musicians that I look forward to hearing from. So I can't wait to talk about this album. It'll be a fun talk. It'll be a
me
fun talk.
too. But yes, to expect that, please subscribe to us wherever you're listening. Leave us a nice rating and review. Follow us on social media. If you've been with us on the ride for a while, thank you for returning.
Yes, yes.
Because we're happy to be back here. Hopefully, we always are wanting new listeners along the way, and hopefully, we've gained some today and in the future. So, until next time, let the light in as we belong together at Turntables and Tea.
Peace.